The massive alien ship appeared without warning above Earth's moon. Dr. Hyunwoo Park was working late in his lab at the Seoul Institute when the alarms started screaming. Red lights flashed across every computer screen in the building. His coffee mug fell to the floor as he jumped up from his chair. "So Young," he called to his colleague in the next room. "Are you seeing this?" Dr. So Young Kim ran into his lab, her face pale with shock. She was holding a tablet that showed readings from their deep space sensors. "Hyunwoo, this ship is 3 kilometers long. The energy signature is unlike anything we've ever detected." Around the world, every space agency and military base was going crazy. The ship just sat there near the moon doing nothing. It was dark gray and looked like a giant sword floating in space. No one on Earth had ever seen anything like it. President Chen of the United Earth Council called an emergency meeting. Within hours, every world leader was on a video call arguing about what to do. Some wanted to attack. Others wanted to hide. Most were just scared. Yunwoo spent the next 3 days studying the ship through telescopes and sensors. He barely slept, or ate. So Young brought him food and coffee while he worked. They discovered the ship was made of materials that didn't exist on Earth. The energy coming from it was enormous but stable. "They're watching us," So Young said on the 3rd day. "Look at these scans. The ship is pointing sensors at every major city on the planet." Hyunwoo nodded. His eyes were red from lack of sleep. "They're studying us like we study insects." Then the ship moved. It traveled from the moon to Earth in less than an hour. No human technology could move that fast. The ship stopped above New York City, casting a huge shadow over Manhattan. People in the streets looked up and pointed. Some screamed. Others just stood there, not knowing what to think. A smaller ship came out of the big one. It was still huge, compared to anything humans had built, but tiny next to the mothership. The smaller ship flew to the United Nations building and landed in the courtyard, crushing several trees. Ambassador Jaemin Lee was chosen to represent Earth in first contact. He was nervous but tried not to show it. He had studied languages and cultures his whole life, but nothing had prepared him for this moment. The alien ship opened with a sound like metal tearing. Steam came out of the opening. Then they appeared. The aliens were tall, about 3 meters high. They looked like they were made of gray stone but moved like living creatures. Their faces were flat, with 4 eyes arranged in a square pattern. They wore dark suits that covered most of their bodies. Each alien carried what looked like weapons, though no one was sure. The lead alien spoke in perfect English, though its voice sounded like rocks grinding together. "I am Sub-Commander Kethron of the Galactic Hegemony. You will gather your leaders." Jaemin stepped forward, trying to stay calm. "Welcome to Earth. I am Ambassador Jaemin Lee, representing the United Earth Council. We are honored by your visit." The alien looked at him for a long moment. "You are not honored. You are being processed." Within an hour, world leaders filled the UN Assembly Hall. The alien sub-commander stood at the speaker's podium like he owned the place. His 3 companions stayed near the doors, watching everyone with their 4 eyes. "Your species has been evaluated," Kethron announced. His voice echoed in the silent hall. "Earth has been classified as a Class C minor world. Your technology is primitive. Your military capabilities are minimal. Your population will be useful for basic labor." President Martinez of the Americas stood up. "What exactly are you saying?" "The Galactic Hegemony claims this world for resource extraction. Your people will be relocated to designated work areas. Those unsuitable for labor will be eliminated. You have 30 standard cycles to prepare for integration into our empire." The hall erupted in angry voices. Some leaders shouted questions. Others argued among themselves. A few looked like they might faint. Jaemin raised his hand for quiet. "How many worlds have you integrated?" 847 worlds now serve the hegemony," Kethron replied. "Most submit peacefully once they understand their situation. Those that resist are destroyed." "And if we refuse?" asked President Petrov of Russia. The alien's face didn't change expression. "Refusal is not possible. Your weapons cannot damage our ships. Your fastest vessels would take centuries to reach other systems. You are isolated and weak. Hyunwoo watched the meeting on television from his lab. He was recording everything, studying the aliens' movements and voices. So Young sat next to him taking notes on their technology. "Look at their suits," she whispered. "Their breathing apparatus. They can't survive in our atmosphere without protection." Hyunwoo leaned closer to the screen. "And see how they move? They're not used to our gravity. It's too light for them." Back at the UN, the alien continued his speech. "Your primitive wars have made you aggressive, but aggression without power is meaningless. We have observed species like yours before. You destroy your own kind over resources and territory. You are not united. You are not advanced. You are not a threat." The alien paused and looked around the room. "Your largest nuclear weapons would barely damage our smallest ships. Your computers are toys compared to our systems. Your fastest aircraft move at speeds we consider stationary." Prime Minister Wang of China stood up. "What do you want from us specifically?" "Manual labor in mining operations. Your bodies are suitable for working in environments too dangerous for our people. Some of you will maintain equipment, others will process raw materials. The intelligent ones might survive long enough to be useful." Jamin felt sick but kept his voice steady. "And our civilization, our cultures, our families? Irrelevant. Culture is a luxury for advanced species. You will work until you die, then be replaced by the next generation. This is how minor worlds serve the greater galaxy." The meeting continued for hours. The aliens answered questions with cold facts about their empire. They had been conquering worlds for 10,000 years. They had never been defeated. They considered humans no different from any other primitive species they had enslaved. When the meeting ended, the aliens returned to their ship. But they left behind small devices that looked like metal spiders. These devices spread across the planet, setting up in major cities. Each one was a monitoring station, watching and listening to everything humans did. That night, Hyunwoo worked until dawn. He studied every image and recording from the alien encounter. So Young helped him analyze their technology and biology. "They made mistakes," Hyunwoo said as the sun came up. "They think they know everything about us, but they only looked at our technology. They didn't study our history." "What do you mean?" So Young asked. "They said we're aggressive because of our primitive wars. They think that makes us weak and divided. But they don't understand what our wars taught us." So Young looked at him with tired eyes. "What did they teach us?" Hyunwoo looked out the window at the city below. People were walking to work, living their lives, not knowing that everything was about to change. "They taught us how to fight when we're outnumbered. They taught us how to win when we're outgunned. They taught us never to surrender, even when surrender seems logical." He turned back to his computers and the data about the aliens. "They conquered 847 worlds, but I bet none of those worlds had survived ice ages, plagues, world wars, and nuclear weapons. None of those worlds learned what humans learned." "What's that?" "How to be dangerous when everyone thinks you're harmless." The alien ship floated above Earth like a dark cloud. In 30 days, they would return with a fleet to claim their newest prize. They were confident, prepared, and completely certain of victory. They had no idea what they had awakened. The Galactic Hegemony's war fleet arrived like a storm of metal and death. 12 massive dreadnought ships, each one 10 kilometers long, emerged from hyperspace above Earth. They carried 50,000 alien soldiers, enough firepower to crack planets, and a fleet admiral named Zixmore, who was tired of hearing about trouble on a minor world. Admiral Chang-ho Park, Hyunwoo's older brother, watched the alien fleet from the bridge of Earth's flagship Defiance. The human space defense fleet looked pathetic next to the alien armada. 60 ships converted from cargo vessels, mining platforms, and research stations. Their weapons were cobbled together from scrap metal and desperate engineering. "Sir, we're receiving a transmission from the alien flagship," reported his communications officer. "Put it through." Fleet Admiral Zixmore's image appeared on the main screen. He was larger than the other aliens, with cybernetic implants covering half his face. When he spoke, his voice sounded like grinding metal. "I am Fleet Admiral Zixmore of the Galactic Hegemony. Your resistance ends now. Surrender immediately or watch your world burn. Chang Ho stood up straight, meeting the alien's four-eyed stare. I am Admiral Chang Ho Park of the Earth Defense Fleet. This is our world, and we will defend it. Zixmore made a sound that might have been laughter. Your entire fleet could not damage one of my ships. You have fought children with sticks. Now you face warriors with the power of stars. We'll see about that. The transmission ended. Chang Ho turned to his officers. Signal all ships. Execute Plan Defiance. The human fleet scattered in all directions, disappearing into asteroid fields, behind the moon, and into the darkness of space. The aliens expected a traditional space battle. Instead, they found empty space. Where did they go? Zixmore demanded of his tactical officer. Unknown, Admiral. Our sensors show they're hiding among the debris fields and using the planet's gravity to mask their signatures. Find them. Destroy them. Then we'll finish this rebellion properly. But the humans weren't trying to win a space battle. They were buying time for the real war to begin. On Earth, Dr. So Young Kim worked frantically in the hidden laboratory that had become the center of human resistance technology. She and Hyunwoo had spent months studying the crashed alien ship. Now they understood how alien technology worked. The quantum processors are based on silicon crystal matrices, she explained to the gathered scientists and engineers. But the crystals are grown, not manufactured. That means each one has unique properties we can exploit. Dr. Hyunwoo Park held up a device that looked like a metal spider. We've reverse-engineered their communication system. More importantly, we've found its weakness. Their entire network depends on quantum entanglement between paired crystals. What does that mean? Asked General Thompson, who was coordinating Earth's ground resistance. It means if we can disrupt the entanglement, their entire communication system collapses, So Young replied. Ships can't talk to each other. Ground forces lose contact with orbital support. They become blind and deaf. Meanwhile, Min Soo Choi had achieved something the aliens thought impossible. He had not only hacked their communication network, but had begun to understand how their cybernetic implants worked. Their brains are partially computerized, he explained to his team of hackers and programmers. The implants enhance their intelligence and allow them to share information instantly, but that also makes them vulnerable to computer viruses. His assistant Tae-ho looked confused. You mean we can give aliens computer viruses? In their brains? Exactly. I've created a virus that attacks the quantum frequencies their implants use. It won't kill them, but it will cause massive confusion and memory loss. Imagine suddenly forgetting how to use your own equipment in the middle of a battle. Dr. Yoon Ji-yoon had been busy too. Her biological weapons were now being mass-produced, in hidden laboratories around the world. But she had discovered something even more important. Their environmental suits don't just filter our atmosphere, she told the resistance leaders. They maintain specific pressure and temperature conditions. If we can force them to remove their suits, Earth's environment becomes toxic to them within hours. How do we force them out of their suits? Asked Captain Han Sol Kim, who had become the leader of Earth's Special Operations Forces. Heat. Extreme heat causes their suits to malfunction. Their cooling systems can't handle temperatures above 60 degrees Celsius. The first major battle of the new war began in the ruins of Mumbai. The aliens had built a massive processing center where they sorted human prisoners for slave labor. But the facility was also a trap. Captain Han Sol led a team of 200 Special Forces soldiers into the city through abandoned subway tunnels. They carried weapons that looked like alien technology because they were alien technology, captured and modified by human engineers. The attack began at dawn. Human fighters emerged from sewers, buildings, and underground tunnels. They had spent weeks learning the alien patrol patterns and guard rotations. When they struck, it was with surgical precision. Teams Alpha and Beta secure the processing center, Han Sol whispered into his radio. Team Gamma, plant the charges on their communication array. Delta Team, you're with me. We're going after their command post. The aliens were caught completely off guard. They had fought many species across the galaxy, but none had used tactics like these. Humans appeared from nowhere, struck hard, and disappeared before the aliens could respond properly. The battle lasted 6 hours. The humans freed 3,000 prisoners and destroyed millions of credits worth of alien equipment. But the real victory was the intelligence they gathered. "Look at this," So Young said, studying data captured from alien computers. "They've never encountered guerrilla warfare before. Every species they conquered fought traditional battles, armies against armies, fleets against fleets." Hyun Woo was reading alien tactical manuals they had stolen. They have standard procedures for everything, standard responses to every type of resistance they've encountered, but we're not following any of their expected patterns. The aliens' frustration was growing. Fleet Admiral Zixmore had expected to crush human resistance in days. Instead, weeks passed and the situation got worse. "How many ships have we lost?" he asked his tactical officer. 7 destroyed, Admiral. 15 more damaged by their hit-and-run attacks. 7 ships? How are these primitives destroying our vessels? "They're not fighting like primitives, Admiral. They use our own asteroid fields against us. They hide among debris and space junk. They attack our weakest ships and disappear before we can respond." Admiral Chang-Ho Park had learned that humans couldn't win in direct confrontations, so they didn't fight direct confrontations. Instead, they made every alien victory cost more than the aliens could afford. "Signal the mining platforms," he ordered during one typical battle. "Begin Operation Avalanche." The mining platforms were actually disguised warships loaded with explosives and debris. When alien ships approached to investigate, the platforms would detonate, turning tons of metal and rock into deadly projectiles. "Their shields can stop energy weapons," Chang Ho explained to his officers, "but they can't stop half an asteroid moving at 30 kilometers per second. Min-Soo Choi achieved his greatest breakthrough during the Battle of Tokyo. His computer virus had evolved into something truly dangerous. He called it the Confusion Protocol. "I'm uploading it to every alien communication device simultaneously," he told his team. "In 3 seconds, every alien soldier on Earth will temporarily forget how to use their equipment." The effect was devastating. Alien soldiers found themselves staring at weapons they couldn't remember how to fire. Pilots forgot how to fly their ships. Officers couldn't remember their own names, let alone their orders. The confusion only lasted 20 minutes, but that was enough. Human fighters struck at alien positions across the globe, capturing equipment and prisoners while their enemies stood around looking lost. Dr. Yoon-ji Yoon's biological weapons proved even more effective than expected. Her modified bacteria didn't just damage alien environmental suits. They spread like wildfire through alien facilities. "The bacteria consume the polymer compounds their technology uses," she explained to a group of resistance fighters. "Within hours, their equipment simply falls apart. Their air filters fail. Their communication devices stop working. They're forced to retreat or die." But the aliens were learning too. Fleet Admiral Zixmore began to understand that humans were unlike any species the hegemony had ever encountered. "They don't fight for territory or resources," he told his officers during a strategy meeting. "They fight for survival. Every human we kill makes the others fight harder, not surrender faster." "Perhaps we should negotiate?" suggested his science. "Officer, the hegemony does not negotiate with inferior species," Zixmore replied, "but perhaps we need to change our tactics." The turning point came when Captain Hansol led a daring raid on the alien flagship itself. Using a captured alien shuttle, his team penetrated the ship's defenses and reached the command center. They didn't try to destroy the ship. That was impossible. Instead, they planted Min-Soo's latest virus directly into the ship's main computer and stole as much intelligence as they could carry. "Look at this," Hyun-Woo said, studying the stolen data. 6 months passed like a nightmare that wouldn't end. The alien surveillance devices watched every move humans made. But the aliens made a big mistake. They thought humans would panic and give up. Instead, humans did what they always did when, faced with extinction, they adapted. Captain Hansol Kim stood on the bridge of the Korean defense ship Unity, looking at Earth through the window. The planet looked the same as always, but everything had changed. Hidden beneath the surface, humanity was preparing for war. The aliens had returned exactly when they promised. 3 massive ships now orbited Earth, each one 5 kilometers long. They carried thousands of alien soldiers and enough firepower to destroy continents. The alien commander Kethron had been promoted and now called himself Battle Commander. Dr. Hyunwoo Park hadn't slept more than 4 hours a night since the first contact. His lab had become a war room filled with scientists, engineers, and military officers. Everyone was working on the same problem: how to fight an enemy with technology thousands of years ahead of theirs. "Show them the electromagnetic readings," Hyunwoo said to So-young during their morning briefing with the military commanders. So-young pulled up charts on the main screen. "We've been studying the aliens for 6 months. Their technology runs on quantum frequencies we can barely understand. But we found something interesting." Captain Han-sol leaned forward. "What kind of interesting?" "Their silicon-based life forms with cybernetic implants," Hyunwoo explained. "Their brains are part computer, part organic tissue. This makes them incredibly smart and allows them to communicate instantly across vast distances." "That sounds like a problem for us, not them," said Colonel Park, Han-sol's second-in-command. "Not necessarily," So-young replied. "Silicon-based electronics are vulnerable to specific electromagnetic pulses, and their organic parts can't handle certain frequencies that are harmless to carbon-based life like us." In another part of the city, Min-soo Choi sat in a basement surrounded by dozens of computer screens. He had been South Korea's best software engineer before the aliens arrived. Now he was leading a global network of hackers trying to break into alien systems. "Any progress?" asked his assistant. A young programmer named Taeho Min-soo rubbed his eyes. "Their encryption is unlike anything we've seen, but every system has weaknesses. We just need to find the right approach." He had been studying the alien monitoring devices for months. Each device sent information back to the ships through quantum communication. Min-soo was convinced he could disrupt their network if he found the right frequency. Meanwhile, Dr. Yoon Ji-yoon was working in a secret laboratory beneath Seoul National University. She was a biochemist who had spent years studying extremophile bacteria, organisms that lived in places that would kill most life forms. "Their environmental suits filter out oxygen and nitrogen," she explained to her research team. "But they need to breathe something. If we can figure out what their atmosphere is made of, we might be able to create something they can't filter out." Above ground, the aliens began their integration process. They landed troops in major cities and started building facilities. Humans were ordered to report to processing centers for work assignments. Many obeyed, too scared to resist, but others didn't. Ambassador Jae-min Lee met secretly with world leaders in an underground bunker in Switzerland. "We need to coordinate our response," he said. "The aliens expect us to surrender like all the others. They don't understand that humans don't work that way." President Martinez nodded. "What do our scientists say? Can we actually fight these things?" "Dr. Park believes we can disrupt their technology. Dr. Yoon thinks we can create weapons that affect their biology, and our cyber warfare teams might be able to break their communications." "Might isn't good enough," said Prime Minister Wang. "We need certainty." "There is no certainty in war," replied General Thompson of the United States. "But we have one advantage they don't expect, which is they've never faced a species that evolved through constant warfare. Every other species they conquered was peaceful. We're not." The first test came when the aliens tried to take control of Mumbai. They landed 1,000 soldiers and expected the city to surrender immediately. Instead, they found empty streets and abandoned buildings. The humans had evacuated most civilians, but hidden fighters remained behind. When the alien troops spread out to search the city, they walked into carefully planned ambushes. Captain Han-sol watched the battle from orbit and stolen alien communication frequencies. "They're not used to guerrilla warfare," he said to his communications officer. "Look how they move in straight lines, expecting direct confrontation." The human fighters used the city itself as a weapon. They had rigged buildings to collapse, turned the subway system into a maze of traps, and planted explosives everywhere. The aliens had superior weapons and armor, but they didn't understand urban warfare. When the aliens called for support, Captain Han-sol made his move. All ships begin electromagnetic pulse bombardment of alien vessels. Every satellite and space station humans controlled fired EMP bursts at the alien ships. Most of the pulses were absorbed by alien shields. But Dr. Hyunwoo's research had been correct. Some frequencies got through. One of the 3 alien ships started having problems. Its lights flickered. Its weapons stopped working properly. The ship began to drift out of orbit. Battle Commander Kethron was furious. How are these primitives affecting our systems? His science officer, an alien named Vextar, studied the readings. Commander, their electromagnetic attacks are using frequencies we didn't expect. Our shields weren't calibrated for such crude but focused energy bursts. Adjust the shields. We're trying, Commander, but they're using multiple frequencies simultaneously. It's like they understand our technology better than we thought possible. Down in Mumbai, the fighting continued. The human forces were taking heavy losses, but they were learning. They discovered that alien armor had weak points at the joints. They found that alien weapons overheated if fired too rapidly. Most importantly, they realized that aliens could be hurt and killed just like any other enemy. Min-Soo Choi achieved his first breakthrough that same day. He managed to hack into one of the monitoring devices and send false information back to the alien fleet. For 30 minutes, the aliens thought the entire city of Tokyo had disappeared. "It's working," he shouted to his team. "Their communication system isn't as secure as they think. If I can create a virus that spreads through their network..." Dr. Yoon Ji-yoon made her own discovery. She analyzed air samples from the aliens' environmental suits and found they breathed a mixture of methane and hydrogen sulfide. More importantly, she discovered that Earth bacteria could be modified to produce toxins that would be deadly to silicon-based life. "We can weaponize our own planet," she explained to the military commanders. "Earth's biosphere is naturally hostile to their biology. We just need to make it more hostile." The battle for Mumbai lasted 3 days. The humans lost the city, but they had proven something important. Aliens could be defeated. The cost was terrible. Thousands of human fighters died. But they took nearly 100 alien soldiers with them. More importantly, they had damaged an alien ship. Captain Han Sol coordinated the final attack. Using modified nuclear missiles with EMP warheads, the human fleet targeted the damaged alien vessel. The ship's shields failed under the electromagnetic assault. Human missiles broke through and struck the hull. The alien ship began to fall toward Earth. Battle Commander Kethron watched in shock as his ship crashed into the Pacific Ocean. In 10,000 years of conquest, no minor world had ever successfully attacked a hegemony vessel. "This is impossible," he said to his officers. "They're a Class C civilization. Their weapons are primitive. How did they damage our ship?" Vextar was studying the human attacks. "Commander, I don't think we properly evaluated this species. They're not fighting like any civilization we've encountered before." "What do you mean?" "They're not trying to win battles. They're trying to learn from each defeat. Every attack teaches them more about our capabilities. They're adapting faster than we anticipated." Kethron looked at the data streaming in from around the planet. Humans were not surrendering. Instead, they were organizing, learning, and becoming more dangerous every day. "Send a message to Fleet Command," he ordered. "Request immediate reinforcement. These creatures are more resilient than expected." In his lab, Dr. Hyunwoo Park studied footage of the crashed alien ship. "They made another mistake," he told So Young. "They assumed we'd be terrified after seeing their power. Instead, we learned that their ships can be destroyed." So Young nodded. "And now we have a crashed ship to study. We can learn about their technology, their weapons, their biology. More than that," Hyunwoo said. "We can reverse engineer their equipment and use it against them." Captain Han Sol received new orders from Earth Command. Instead of defending individual cities, human forces would focus on mobility and surprise attacks. They would make the aliens pay for every meter of ground they claimed. The aliens controlled Earth's major cities, but humans still controlled the wilderness, the mountains, the forests, and the oceans. From hidden bases, they would continue their war of resistance. Min-Soo Choi's virus had evolved too. The human fleet that emerged from hyperspace near Keftar Station looked nothing like the ships that had fled Earth months before. 200 vessels, built from a mixture of human engineering and stolen alien technology, moved through space with deadly purpose. Admiral Chang Ho Park stood on the bridge of the Vengeance, formerly a cargo hauler, now humanity's most advanced warship. Next to him, Dr. Hyun-woo Park studied readings from alien sensors they had captured and modified. The station has shields, but they're designed to stop external attacks, Hyun-woo reported. They never expected anyone to follow them home. Good, Chung-ho replied. Signal the fleet. Begin Operation Homecoming. Keftar Station was massive, a metal city floating in space that supplied dozens of alien fleets across the galaxy. It was defended by 30 warships and housed over 1 million alien civilians and military personnel. The station commander, Sub-Admiral Tekvar, had never lost a battle in 3 centuries of service. Sir, we're detecting unknown vessels approaching the station, his tactical officer reported. Tekvar looked at the sensor displays with confusion. Unknown? Impossible. All ships in this region are registered with Fleet Command. Sir, the energy signatures match reports from the Earth system. These appear to be human vessels. Tekvar made a sound of disbelief. Humans? In our territory? Check your sensors, officer. Humans don't have interstellar capability. Sensors confirmed, sir. 200 vessels, definitely human design mixed with what appears to be our own technology. For the first time in centuries, Sub-Admiral Tekvar felt something he had forgotten: fear. Captain Han-Sol Kim led the first wave of attack ships toward the station. His vessel, the Ghost, was small and fast, built for infiltration rather than direct combat. Behind him flew 50 similar ships, each carrying special forces teams trained for one purpose: close-quarters combat in alien environments. Remember the mission? Han-Sol spoke into his communication system. We're not here to destroy the station. We're here to cripple their supply chain and gather intelligence about their homeworlds. Min-Soo Choi sat in the Ghost's computer center, surrounded by equipment that would have been impossible to build 6 months earlier. His virus programs had evolved far beyond simple hacking tools. Now they could rewrite alien software in real time, turning the aliens' own systems against them. I'm detecting their shield frequency, he reported. Give me 30 seconds to create a counter-program. The aliens opened fire first. Energy beams that could vaporize asteroids lanced out from the station's defensive weapons. But the human ships moved like schools of fish, never staying in one place long enough to be targeted effectively. Their tactics are all wrong, observed Dr. Yoon Ji-yoon, who was aboard the medical ship Mercy. She had come to test her latest biological weapons against alien defensive systems. They're trying to fight a traditional space battle, but we're not giving them one. The human fleet scattered in all directions, some ships diving toward the station while others seemed to retreat. The aliens concentrated their fire on the advancing ships, not realizing the retreating vessels were moving into ambush positions. Now, whispered Admiral Chang-ho. The ships that had appeared to retreat suddenly reversed course, accelerating toward the station from unexpected angles. At the same time, Min-Soo's virus programs activated every system they had infiltrated. Station lights went dark. Shield generators overloaded. Communication systems broadcast nonsense data. In the confusion, Captain Han-Sol's infiltration teams reached the station's docking bays. Teams Alpha through Delta, secure the docking areas, Han-Sol ordered as his ship attached to the station's hull. Echo and Foxtrot teams, you're with me. We're going after their central computer. The fighting inside the station was unlike anything the aliens had experienced in their 10,000-year history. Humans appeared from ventilation shafts, maintenance tunnels, and storage compartments. They moved through the station like they had built it themselves, using the aliens' own architecture against them. Sub-Admiral Tekvar tried to coordinate the defense from his command center, but human fighters had cut communication lines throughout the station. His officers received contradictory orders. Security teams got lost in areas they had patrolled for years. Blast doors sealed randomly, trapping defenders in compartments that suddenly filled with Dr. Yoon-ji's modified bacteria. Sir, the humans are using our own life support systems against us, reported a surviving security officer. They've released some kind of biological agent that's eating through our environmental suits. How is that possible? Tekvar demanded. Unknown, sir, but our people are being forced to abandon their positions as their suits fail. Captain Hansol reached the station's computer core after fighting through 12 levels of alien defenders. What he found there would change the course of the war. Minsu, are you seeing this? He spoke into his radio as he connected his equipment to alien data systems. I'm in their main database now, Minsu replied from his ship. Hansol, this is incredible. They have detailed maps of their entire empire. Fleet positions, supply routes, defensive installations, everything. But that wasn't the most important discovery. As Minsu downloaded terabytes of alien intelligence data, he found something that made his blood run cold. Chang-Ho, you need to see this immediately, he transmitted to the Admiral. What is it? They're not just conquering random worlds. They're following a pattern. Every species they've enslaved is now working on some kind of massive construction project. Admiral Chang-Ho felt a chill run down his spine. What kind of project? I don't know yet. But whatever it is, it requires the labor of nearly 1 billion enslaved beings. And according to these files, it's almost complete. The battle for Keftar station lasted 18 hours. When it was over, the station was a broken hulk drifting in space. Sub-Admiral Tekvar was dead, along with most of his crew. The human fleet had captured dozens of alien ships, thousands of tons of supplies, and most importantly, the location of the Galactic Hegemony's home system. Dr. Hyun Woo studied the captured data with growing excitement. So young, look at this. We now know everything about their empire. Their strengths, their weaknesses, their fears. What fears? So Young asked. They're afraid of something called the Devourers, an ancient enemy that destroyed entire star systems millions of years ago. The Hegemony's massive construction project is some kind of defensive weapon designed to stop the Devourers if they ever return. So Young looked puzzled. But what does that have to do with us? Everything. The aliens aren't just conquering worlds for resources or territory. They're terrified of something coming back to destroy them. That makes them desperate, not confident. Captain Hansel returned from the station carrying alien prisoners and intelligence files. Their morale is completely broken, he reported. They keep asking how we found their supply depot. They can't understand how a minor world followed them across interstellar space. Dr. Yoon Ji-yoon had made her own discoveries during the battle. Their biology is more fragile than we thought, she explained. Extended exposure to our modified bacteria causes permanent damage to their cybernetic implants. We're not just fighting them, we're changing them at a genetic level. The news of Keftar Station's destruction spread through the galactic hegemony like wildfire. Fleet Admiral Zixmore received the report while fighting human insurgents on Earth. The entire station destroyed? He asked his communications officer. Yes, Admiral. No survivors. The humans also captured our supply ships and stole our navigation databases. Zixmore felt something his species rarely experienced: despair. Send an emergency message to the High Command on Velthak Prime. Tell them the humans are no longer a local problem. They're a threat to the entire empire. But the humans weren't finished. Admiral Chang-Ho addressed his fleet from the Bridge of the Vengeance. Today we proved that the galactic hegemony can be defeated. But we can't stop here. They know where Earth is. They'll keep sending fleets until they destroy our world or we destroy them. He paused, looking at the faces of his officers. 6 months ago they had been cargo pilots, research scientists, and mining engineers. Now they were the most dangerous military force in the galaxy. We're going to their homeworld, Chang-Ho continued. We're going to end this war where it began, with the hegemony's surrender or destruction. The alien prisoners they had captured couldn't believe what they were hearing. No species in galactic history had ever attacked the hegemony's home system. It was defended by hundreds of fleets and protected by weapons that could destroy entire star systems. But humans had learned something the aliens never expected. The most dangerous predator isn't the strongest or the fastest. It's the one that adapts to every environment and never stops hunting. Min-Soo Choi worked feverishly to decode the final pieces of alien intelligence data. What he found would determine the fate of both species. Chang-Ho, he transmitted to the Admiral. I found the location of their homeworld. But there's something else. Something they've been hiding from their own people. What is it? The Devourers aren't extinct. They're still out there somewhere in deep space, and according to these files, the hegemony's massive weapon won't be enough to stop them when they return. The Velthak system had never seen war. For 10,000 years, the galactic hegemony's homeworld had been the center of an empire that stretched across 1,000 star systems. Now, as Admiral Chang Ho Park's fleet emerged from hyperspace, that peace was about to end forever. Velthak Prime hung in space like a dark jewel, surrounded by massive orbital defense stations and protected by the largest fleet in galactic history. 500 alien warships moved in perfect formation around their home world, their weapons trained on the approaching human vessels. But Chang Ho wasn't leading the same desperate fleet that had fled Earth a year ago. Behind him came 500 ships from 47 different species, all former slaves of the hegemony who had joined humanity's war of liberation. "Admiral," reported Captain Han Sol Kim from his command ship Retribution, "we're receiving surrender offers from 17 different alien species. They want to join our coalition." Chang Ho nodded. "Accept them all, but make it clear, we're not here to conquer. We're here to end tyranny." Dr. Hyun-Woo Park studied the massive alien fleet through his sensors. "So Young, are you seeing the size of their defensive formation? There must be 500,000 alien soldiers protecting this world." Dr. So Young Kim was analyzing energy readings from the planet's surface. "Look at this, Hyun-Woo. They're not just defending the planet, they're powering up some kind of massive weapon." On Velthak Prime, Emperor Zarthak stood in his command center, surrounded by his finest generals and scientists. He was ancient even by alien standards, having ruled the hegemony for 3,000 years. Never in his reign had any enemy reached the home system. "Status report," he commanded. "My Emperor," replied General Mexvar, "the humans have brought allies. We count ships from dozens of species we conquered centuries ago. They've somehow united our former slaves against us." "Impossible. Those species are broken, scattered, powerless." "Not anymore, my Emperor. The humans taught them to fight." Emperor Zarthak looked at the tactical displays showing enemy ships surrounding his world. "Then we'll use the final protocol. Activate the Star Killer." Deep beneath Velthak Prime's surface, an ancient weapon began to charge. The Star Killer was the hegemony's ultimate defensive weapon, a device that could destroy entire solar systems by destabilizing the local star. It had never been used, but its mere existence had kept the hegemony safe for millennia. Min-Soo Choi detected the weapon's activation from his position aboard the flagship Humanity's Wrath. "Chang Ho, they're charging some kind of massive energy weapon. If they fire that thing, it'll destroy everything in this system, including us. How long do we have?" 6 hours, maybe less. Admiral Chang Ho opened communications to his entire fleet. "All ships, this is Admiral Park. The enemy is preparing a weapon that will destroy this entire star system. We have one chance to stop them. Operation Final Strike begins now." Captain Han Sol led the assault on the orbital defense stations. His ships moved like hunting wolves, striking fast and disappearing before the aliens could respond effectively. But this time they weren't just using human tactics. They were using lessons learned from dozens of different alien species. "The Zephyrian ships will provide electronic jamming," Han Sol coordinated over the communications system. "The Altarian vessels will target their shield generators. The Korthak fighters will provide close air support." The battle was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Instead of one species fighting another, it was a coalition of former victims united against their oppressor. Each species brought their own unique abilities and weapons to the fight. Dr. Yoon Ji-yoon had spent months working with alien biochemists to create the ultimate biological weapon. Now, as human dropships penetrated Velthak Prime's atmosphere, her creation was about to be unleashed. "The modified virus targets their cybernetic implants specifically," she explained to the landing force commanders. "It won't kill them, but it will sever the connection between their organic brains and their computer systems. They'll be helpless." The landing on Velthak Prime began with precision strikes on the planet's defense centers. Human Marines, supported by alien allies, fought their way through cities that had never known war. The alien defenders fought desperately, but they were facing enemies who had learned from every species in the galaxy. "They're using hegemony tactics against the hegemony," observed Dr. Hyunwoo as he watched the battle from orbit. "The humans learned from us, then taught our own methods to our former slaves." Emperor Zarthak watched in horror as his invincible empire crumbled around him. How are they coordinating so many different species? The logistics alone should be impossible. His science advisor, Elder Kexthor, studied the enemy formations. "My Emperor, they're not using traditional command structures. Each species is fighting independently but toward the same goal. It's like watching a living organism with multiple brains. That makes no sense. Unless they've learned to think like humans." The breakthrough came when Min-Soo Choi's cyber warfare team penetrated the Starkiller's control systems. Working with hackers from a dozen different species, he created a virus that would turn the weapon against the aliens themselves. "I can redirect the Starkiller's targeting system," he reported to Admiral Chang-ho. "Instead of destroying the star, I can make it target the hegemony's fleet. Do it." But Emperor Zarthak had one final card to play. Deep in his fortress, he activated a communication system that had not been used in millions of years, a beacon that would summon the Devourers back to the galaxy. "If I cannot rule the galaxy," he declared to his remaining officers, "then let the ancient destroyers return and consume it all." Captain Han Sol's assault team reached the Emperor's stronghold just as the beacon activated. "We're too late," he reported. "The signal has already been transmitted into deep space." But Dr. So-Young Kim had been studying the ancient records captured from alien databases. "Wait," she transmitted to the assault team. "The beacon isn't calling the Devourers, it's calling something else." "What?" "The Guardians, the Devourers' ancient enemies, the species that drove them away millions of years ago." The Starkiller weapon fired, but not at the local star. Min-Soo's virus had worked perfectly. The massive energy beam lanced out and struck the center of the alien fleet, destroying dozens of ships in seconds. Emperor Zarthak was captured alive, dragged from his throne room by human marines who showed him the same mercy he had shown to countless enslaved species. None. But the war's end brought an unexpected visitor. A ship appeared in the Velthak system, but it wasn't human or hegemony. It was something else entirely, ancient, powerful, and unlike anything anyone had ever seen. Admiral Chang-ho received a communication from the mysterious vessel. The voice that spoke was old beyond measure, but kind. "Young warriors of Terra," the voice said, "we are the Guardians. We felt the beacon's call and have come to investigate. We see that you have ended the hegemony's reign of terror." "Who are you?" Chang-ho asked. "We are the species that drove the Devourers from this galaxy eons ago. We have watched from the void, waiting for a species strong enough to maintain the peace we established." The Guardian ship projected images showing the true history of the galaxy. The hegemony had not conquered worlds to build a defensive weapon. They had enslaved species to feed the Devourers when they returned. The hegemony were not defenders, the Guardian explained. They were servants of the darkness, preparing a feast for our ancient enemies. Dr. Hyunwoo felt sick as the implications became clear. They were going to sacrifice every enslaved species to the Devourers? Yes. But you have prevented this. You have shown that this galaxy can produce warriors worthy of defending it. The Guardian ship began to leave, but turned back one final time. The Devourers will return eventually. When they do, the galaxy will need protectors who understand that freedom is worth fighting for. We believe humanity and its allies will be ready. 1 year later, Ambassador Jae-min Lee stood before the First Galactic Assembly of Free Worlds. Representatives from hundreds of liberated species filled the Great Hall on the neutral world of New Hope. "Today we establish a new principle for galactic civilization," Jae-min declared. "No species will rule over another. No world will be enslaved, for the benefit of an empire, and any force that threatens freedom will face united resistance." Dr. Hyunwoo Park, now director of the Galactic Research Council, had made discoveries that revolutionized science across 100 worlds. Working with alien scientists, he was developing new technologies that would prepare the galaxy for future threats. Dr. So-Young Kim led efforts to terraform damaged worlds and restore ecosystems destroyed by hegemony exploitation. Her work with alien biologists was healing centuries of environmental destruction. Captain Hansol Kim had become a legend across the galaxy, the human who taught former slaves how to fight for their freedom. Military academies on dozens of worlds studied his tactics and strategies. Admiral Chang Ho Park commanded the Free Galaxy Defense Force, a volunteer military composed of ships and personnel from every liberated world. They patrolled space, ensuring that no new empire could rise to threaten peace. Min-Soo Choi directed the Galactic Information Network, a communication system that connected every free world and ensured that no species would ever again be isolated and helpless.